Okay, so I mentioned that Time Magazine have their annual Person of the Year feature. This year the winner was the Ebola fighters, as they put it. That's a collective term for all of the nurses, doctors, caregivers, and others involved in the fight against Ebola. I'll speak a little bit about what I think about that in a second, but there's a few other people who were shortlisted and who are considered the runners-up. Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia. Masoud Barzani, the Kurdish leader, who is being very much in a pressurizing position this year with ISIS conflict going on. Jack Ma, the entrepreneur and CEO of Alibaba, and the Ferguson protesters. So they are the people who are runners-up. Now, I don't tend to make this a very long video, just want to speak a little bit about what I think about their choice. I'm not very surprised. I had a feeling they would go for a collective group rather than an individual, so I'm not very surprised at that. I have no problem with them being recognised. I have no major issue with that, and I do think it's certainly an idea that's worth considering, that a group of people should be recognised for collective efforts. The only issue I take that it is simply inconsistent. I mean, if you have a Person of the Year, that adjective is singular, Person of the Year. So, to me, this should be, maybe what Time should do is have every year a single individual who they regard as having the most influence, a group of people who they regard as having the most influence, and an event. Now, like I said, I really don't have a big issue with this because Ebola is one of the big events of 2014. It's not been out of the news, and these people have been working in some very difficult circumstances. Very few of them are well-known figures, very few of them are famous, and yet they're working in extraordinary circumstances of saving lives. So it is right that they are being recognised. I don't have a big problem with that. In terms of influential, well, like I say, Ebola is one of the big news events of 2014, so in that sense they are influential insofar as slowing down the pace of the spread of this pandemic, and in the case of Nigeria it was declared Ebola free, so clearly they are having some impact. The runner-up was Putin, along with the others. Putin's the most powerful man in the world, and I think that the only issue I take, like I said in the last video I made on this subject, I find it incredible that Narendra Modi didn't even make it into the top 10, and there's any number of other figures who could well have been put there and who weren't. It could be argued Abu al-Baghdadi, the leader of ISIS, is there. Now, what I want to stress about this acclamation, this Person of the Year, it's not intended as being a benevolent position necessarily. Obviously Ebola caregivers are, but there's no doubt about it, Baghdadi is the world's #1 terrorist. He's the leader of ISIS. He's had a huge impact on the world in 2014. So has Putin. So has Narendra Modi. So Putin is in that list, but I am surprised that neither Modi or Baghdadi made the list. And that's this is not an endorsement of anyone, but it's just a recognition of influence. So 2014, the winners, the Ebola caregivers. It's not the first time that Time Magazine has chosen a collective group. In 2011 they chose the protester as a reflection of the Arabian Spring. Maybe it's just because I'm an English teacher, but I just think it's a little bit inconsistent to have a Person of the Year then choose a group. But I don't begrudge these people for getting recognised. I think they've saved lives. They are directly involved in one of the year's biggest news events, so I can understand that choice. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think this is the right choice? Do you take issue with it? Etc, etc. So, Time Magazine, People of the Year 2014, the Ebola fighters.